While Americans were celebrating Thanksgiving, former President Donald Trump's situation took a startling turn when the DOJ made a surprising court move in favor of maintaining a gag order against him. This unexpected development occurred while a riveting civil fraud trial worth $250 million was taking place in New York, where the DOJ was referring to key papers to bolster its case. There is already a lot of attention on Trump's post-presidency legal issues, and the timing of this maneuver just makes things worse. On Thanksgiving, the DOJ filed a court document injecting Donald Trump's legal situation, which has taken a surprising turn. During the ongoing civil fraud trial in New York, the DOJ is strategically emphasizing the need to control the flow of information and protect a cloud of secrecy by fighting for the preservation of the gag order. There is a gag order in place that prevents Trump and his associates from discussing the current judicial procedures in the public sphere. The Department of Justice's case for keeping it going highlights the fine line between free expression and protecting the validity of the legal process by expressing worry about the possible outcomes of unfettered discussion during the trial. Amidst this legal confusion, a landmark civil fraud trial is underway in New York City, with Trump facing accusations that could result in a $250 million financial disaster. Thanksgiving Day's filing by the Department of Justice is a sobering reminder of how serious this situation is. It marks the beginning of the stage in the legal procedures where the management of information and strict adherence to procedure are of the utmost importance. The submission on a national holiday further complicates the already complex legal proceedings. Even if legal maneuvers don't care about holidays, filing on Thanksgiving makes the case for keeping the gag order even more urgent and significant. The timing of these events is crucial, as it highlights the high stakes involved in Trump's legal challenges and their ramifications that go beyond complex legal matters. The Department of Justice's focus on the documents provided for the civil fraud trial demonstrates the significance of tightly controlling the flow of information. Managing public opinion becomes an integral part of legal strategy in high-profile disputes involving notable public personalities. In the complex web of legal processes entwined with the legacy of a past president, the case for a gag order implies an intention to limit any possible outside influences that could alter the course of the trial. Protecting the law while simultaneously making people answer for their actions is a tricky balancing act. The gag order is an attempt at compromise that aims to preserve fairness and openness in the court system while shielding it from outside interference. In light of the fact that Trump is notorious for his fiery temper and his propensity for public criticism, everyone is waiting to see how he responds to the arguments that the Department of Justice has presented in order to maintain the gag orders. Throughout the course of his post-presidential legal challenges, the narrative will center on how Trump responds to the gag order and how it affects his public image. The Department of Justice is determined to maintain the gag order throughout the $250 million civil fraud trial of Donald Trump, adding a new chapter to the legal drama surrounding the former president. One of the most fascinating aspects of this unfolding story is how legal processes, public opinion, and the protection of information integrity shape the trajectory of post-presidential legal challenges. In light of the potential for President Trump's re-election in 2024, new questions have arisen regarding the pardon he granted at the very last minute before leaving office in 2021. Jared Kushner's father-in-law, Jonathan Brune, received a pardon at the conclusion of his 10-year sentence for plotting a substantial criminal enterprise, as he had already served a portion of it. Brown's predatory lending practices and threats against his victims were being investigated at the same time the probe was taking place. President Trump granted Brown a pardon, halting the investigation into predatory lending. It was the United States Attorney's Office in Manhattan that was leading this investigation, and they were on the verge of discovering evidence that was extremely important. Negotiations were taking place with Brown in an effort to increase the likelihood that he would assist in exposing the foundation of the enterprise. The question that everyone is now wondering about is whether or not Kushner and his father, Charles Kushner, were involved in the planning of this pardon. In reference to Trump, Brown's family is said to have brought their problem to the attention of the president by utilizing their link to Charles Kushner, as stated in the reports. The New York Times discovered that Jared Kushner's team at the White House crafted the phrasing used to announce the bronze commutation. This discovery has brought to light fundamental issues with the way in which the Trump administration handles clemency requests. These issues include the absence of a full examination and the marginalization of the Justice Department that has occurred as a result of this revelation. This is according to former Attorney General Bill Barr, who stated that pardons are not subject to the same level of scrutiny and oversight as other crimes. Charles Kushner, who had personal experience with incarceration, further contributed to the feeling of secrecy surrounding the affair by abruptly ending the phone call when pressed for a remark. This episode illuminates the intricate network of influence and power within the Trump administration, specifically regarding presidential pardons, and raises concerns about potential abuse of executive power. Former President Trump's continued political and legal challenges stem from his unsuccessful attempt to collect critical Department of Justice papers, which were ultimately rejected by the courts. This incident brings to light a great deal of significant concerns, particularly in light of the current political and legal atmosphere. Protection of confidential information held by the Department of Justice. This denial of access to vital Department of Justice information by the court highlights the critical importance of maintaining the confidentiality of investigations conducted by law enforcement. This ruling protects the legitimacy of the Department of Justice's operations by preventing political prejudice or outside influences from impacting ongoing investigations within the department. This rejection highlights the importance of all parties, regardless of their political status, adhering to the established legal rules. For the purpose of maintaining impartiality and fairness, the legal system operates according to a set of procedures that all parties are required to adhere to. Concerns over the misuse of political power. Opponents of the initiative have expressed concerns about the potential political use of sensitive information. The court has made the decision to keep the papers maintained by the Department of Justice, DOJ, confidential in order to suit these anxieties and prevent the possible politicization of such sensitive information. The decision to keep the papers maintained by the Department of Justice, DOJ, confidential helps to bolster public confidence in the fairness of the judicial proceedings and the faith that citizens have in the justice system. The court's strict approach in this particular case bolsters public confidence in the fairness of the judicial proceedings by ensuring investigations are conducted without undue influence or meddling. This ruling has strengthened the credibility of the judicial system. The practice of maintaining confidentiality while upholding openness and honesty. The event has spurred new talks about the challenge of striking a balance between being transparent and preserving sensitive information on the one hand and protecting sensitive information on the other. When dealing with high-stakes legal situations, legal practitioners emphasize how important it is to find a place of equilibrium that allows for accountability without allowing for surrender. Prolonged investigations and drawn-out legal fights in light of the fact that Trump's legal team has voiced dismay while also committing to investigate alternative legal options, it is highly possible that the legal battles involving the former president will continue for some time. Including this chapter in the ongoing story of legal and political disputes is the current situation. The observance of laws and regulations is crucial. The ruling of the court upholds the necessity of adhering to established legal procedures, regardless of how high-profile the topic or individual in question may be. This decision emphasizes the significance of preserving the integrity of legal proceedings and avoiding their exploitation for the sake of party or personal gain. Protecting sensitive information and data. This denial boldly emphasizes the significance of uncovering the secret contained within Department of Justice records. Because it demonstrates that the courts are committed to protecting sensitive information, it is essential for the effectiveness of judicial and law enforcement procedures in preventing political exploitation. This is because it is necessary for the efficiency of these proceedings. Some saw Trump's legal team's effort as an attempt to leverage confidential evidence from the Department of Justice for political gain. The decision of the court to withhold these records is a step in the right direction toward preventing the possible misuse of sensitive information for political purposes. There is a good chance that this decision will establish a precedent for similarly situated situations in the future. Following this decision, there will most likely be further instances that are comparable to this one. Political and legal teams are well aware of the boundaries placed on their requests to law enforcement regarding sensitive material. In the case of Jonathan Brown, the consequences President Trump's decision to commute the sentence of Jonathan Brown, as stated in the Raw Story article, hampered an ongoing investigation into predatory lending by the Department of Justice. This move exemplifies the far-reaching effects that presidential pardons or commutations have on the investigations and proceedings within the legal system associated with criminal cases. Politicians possess significant power due to the fact that Jared and Charles Kushner were active in the process of advocating for Brown's commutation. There are worries regarding the influence of political figures in the process of executive clemency. In the run-up to the election in 2024, it raises worries about the prospect that the CEO will use his position to advance his own political or personal agenda because of the circumstances described above. In light of the fact that Trump is contemplating a run for the presidency in 2024, decisions such as the pardon of Brown take on greater political significance. They demonstrate how essential it is to carefully consider the repercussions of executive actions, particularly in light of the fact that political and legal accountability are both essential. It is crucial to carefully consider the long-term consequences of the executive's decisions. As demonstrated by this particular instance, it is essential to achieve a balance between political influence, the consequences of ongoing investigations, and the long-term effects that measures taken by the president have on the judicial system. Additionally, if you would like to offer your thoughts, you are welcome to do so in the allocated space. To show that you found this video to be extremely beneficial, simply give us a thumbs up.